here we go. DeAndre Bonds, welcome to Vlad TV.
Man, thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, I actually want to do this interview like 5 years ago. We quickly ran into each other.
Oh, yeah.
But, I think you had other things going on at the time, so it didn't happen then, but it's happening now, and I think it's actually a better time for it to be happening now.
I think so, too. Yeah, I'm in a better place now.
Yeah, man, and I've seen you in a bunch of newer projects, and we'll talk about that when we get to that. But congrats on, not only having, parts in legendary movies, but also continuing to get dope parts and to keep perfecting your craft, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I've been in it for a minute. This is my passion.
Yep.
And I don't see me ever stopping, whether it's in front of the camera or behind, I'm going to have something to do with this.
No doubt, man. Well, let's start from the beginning. You grew up in L.A.
Yes, sir.
What part?
South Central Los Angeles. I grew up in like 80th and Avalon. On the east side, in the Swans. Everybody, probably know about that. And I grew up in the Hoovers. I went to 52nd Street Elementary, went to John Muir Middle School. I stayed in Compton for a minute on Atlantic Drive, went to Whaley, Roosevelt. So, I kind of touched every aspect of LA, from Compton to Watts, Inglewood. I was born in Sentinel Hospital, so, yeah.
And I guess your father left early on.
Yeah, early on, my father and my mother had, their personal issues which caused them to separate. However, my mother, raised me and, she did what she had to do.
When was the last time you seen your father?
My father is resting. He passed away in 2005. And the last time I saw him was 2001. Probably,
okay.
Yeah. In court.
In court?
Yeah.
For what?
That's another story.
Okay, fair enough. So you guys didn't really have a relationship?
Not one that I could have, that I wanted or that I would love to have had with him. However, I knew my father. My father knew me. I spent time with him. He saw my career progressing and got to enjoy some of that with me. And, the parts and what I needed from my father, I believe in my heart I received at the time I needed it. So, Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
You're still a fairly young man.
Yes, sir.
It's sad that you lost your father so early.
Yeah. He's inside of me, so, he just...
Well, you're the oldest of 6 children?
Yes. I have 5 sisters and 2 brothers, so I'm actually the oldest of 8.
Oldest of 8?
Well, 7 siblings plus me. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess your mother had children with, I guess, six different men?
Yeah, my mother has, growing up in the time she grew up in the area that she grew up in, it was different. She had issues that she had to, deal with, and a lot of people in general in this time were dealing with, just the crack epidemic in that time. So my mother struggled with that. And, she didn't live a life that she does now. She's been clean and sober for 30 years.
Congrats.
And she's absolutely wonderful now and great. However, yeah, it didn't start off that way. We had to go through a lot of struggles, and however we conquered our whatever we had to, endure. We went through it and we conquered it.
Yeah, well, I have people close to me that grew up with drug-addicted mothers.
Yeah.
And, they describe just the, coming home, the lights are off,
yeah.
And all your stuff is in the front lawn because you've been evicted. And
been through it all, sleeping in cars, man, other people helping us, being without, living on noodles and, but, a lot of people at that time, especially my people, were going through the same thing. So, it was just a part of the demons that my people had to struggle against, and the powers that be.
Well, yeah, you're talking about, because you were born in 76.
Yeah, 76.
You're 10 years old in the middle of the crack epidemic.
Yeah.
Like literally when it's starting to hit LA is when you're a very young man,
Yes,
still a boy at that point, not even a teenager. and you're growing up in this environment. So what was it like, with all your siblings having different fathers? What was that like exactly?
Well, it was we were siblings still, None of the men that my mother associated with at that time was involved in our life, you know what I mean? And
None of them at all. None of your
none.
really.
And that's sad and unfortunate. However, we had one another, and that made us a stronger a unit. You know what I mean? We that's all we needed was one another, and our mother was our rock. So it was like it opened my eyes and gave me a more understanding that I had to be the man at an early age because we needed what we needed, and I was the only one that was able, and the oldest to get out there and make it happen. So I used to pump gas, I sold candy, and I made ends meet to provide for my family and help my mother in her time when she needed help, and my family, which any man would do.
I mean, you're the oldest out of, 8 kids, I guess.
Yes, sir.
So with none of the fathers around,
Yes, sir.
you are becoming the man of the house when you're really not a man yet.
No, sir.
It's a very unfair situation for someone that age.
Yeah, it is. However, I was equipped. God blessed me to be able to do what I needed to do. And a lot of my people, like I say, I'm not the only one that has had to do this, step up at an early age and become or be the man that, our mothers needed us to be, our sisters, our siblings needed us, So, yeah.
Well, I guess at one point you ended up in foster care?
I was in foster homes, group homes. At the time my mother decided to check herself into rehab and get her life right so she can get us, all back, because one of my family members at the time, they had found some drugs in his system, and they wound up taking us from my mother. And she made the conscious decision to get her life right, and she got her life right. It took her maybe a year and maybe 2 years almost, but she got all of us back, and she's been clean and sober ever since, and she's a great rock to our family and to our community,
Well, I've heard horror stories about foster homes.
Yeah.
How bad was that for you?
Well, I was in the foster home. It was actually, it was not as bad as, I think it was me and my rebelliousness not wanting to be there, but the people that that was responsible for my care, I had some exceptional people that really cared about me, made sure I was going to school, and but I still acted out, and they wind up having to let me go. So I wind up going to a youth center, a Long Beach youth home, and it was a 40-man group home, and that was a little more active, you know what I mean? Like first day or two, we fighting, and everybody running around. It's all boys, teenagers, so a lot of testosterone and young minds. So you can imagine.
Well, all boys that are coming from broken families.
Absolutely.
Not, you know what I'm saying? So you have these situations where there's anger and resentment and feelings of abandonment, and now you're with a bunch of other kids in the same situation as you. It's rough. So that was just fighting nonstop?
Not nonstop, but
a lot.
A lot. But it was also a lot of fun. We went out, we got to learn one another, and camaraderie, and they had field trips and things we went on. It had its ups and downs.
Well, you're growing up in LA during this time, and it's essentially these different areas are gang areas.
Yeah.
I mean, because you were selling candy and hustling that way, but were you getting involved in any of the street shit at all?
Straightforward, no. I had my issues as far as having people, press me or, try to get me to become a part of their gang. However, that's something that I never did and I never wanted to do. I had my dreams at an early age. I wanted to be in movies. So that was what I was focused on. How to get there, how to achieve this, I had no idea. So in the meantime, in the between time, to keep me away from the gangs and drugs, I sold candy. So I used to catch the bus from my home on 80th and Avalon, downtown Hollywood, and that's how I hustled. And that's how I ultimately met my agent trying to sell her some candy. So it was like I was on the right path, and I got one of my dreams answered because I was doing the right things and not dabbling in, gang banging and trying to rob and take shit from other people. I can go get it myself. That's just how I felt all the time.
I mean, that's a very strong will right there, because, what you were making selling candy dudes was probably flipping that, making that,
Yeah,
20
I was
minutes.
making maybe $150 a day selling candy from 13 to 16, 17, okay. Yeah.
And you met your agent.
And I met my agent. And,
okay. And at that point, did you have any acting experience at all?
No, I never had any acting classes, or it's just something that I always wanted to do, and I had a passion to do it. And just growing up, you know what I mean, like experiencing the things that I had to at an early age, and in my life, I was equipped with the emotions and the that what you need to express oneself as an actor. So I've been through all that shit. So it's like,
well, I guess at 13 you were in a play.
I was
and
in
you
a play
played,
at school.
I guess, a drug addict.
A drug, yeah.
In a play.
In a play, a teenage drug addict, and it was my first experience, and I loved it. Everybody afterwards was clapping. They were giving me money, and I got bit by that bug, and it was like, I could see it happening.
Right. So at that point, you're like, all right, this is what I'm doing.
Period. Nothing could
fuck
stop
all this
me.
extra shit. I have a tunnel vision straight to this
movie shit.
Okay. So I guess a bunch of interesting stuff happened while you were selling candy, apart from actually meeting your agent.
Yeah.
What else?
I met everybody, man, from Martin Lawrence, Tupac, man. I met Tupac, man.
Selling candy.
Scarface, selling candy, Chubb Rock, oh my goodness, Ice Cube, man. Whoever was somebody at that time, and being in Hollywood, and just that I ran up and down Sunset Boulevard. That was where all the money was.
Huh. Comedy
Store.
Yeah.
So that's why I frequented that. So I met a lot of people, and I had some inspiring experiences and some negative ones as well. However, yeah.
That's
right place at the
man.
right time.
That's very inspirational.
Yes, sir.
Just
I met
that
Martin Lawrence. I was out in front of the Comedy Store, and this was like maybe 16, and I see Martin coming. I got about 20, maybe $40 worth of candy left, and I'm excited, because every time you see somebody famous, a musician, an actor, you just know they're gonna help you out, So right. Martin came. He didn't want no candy, but he gave me $100. Was like, man, resell the candy, but thank you. And I was like, oh, I'm done. I don't really have to do nothing no more. So I'm sitting out there. About 5 minutes later, the bouncer comes out, and I'm thinking, oh man, I gotta go. He about to tell me to get up out of here. And he actually invited me in. So I'm tripping, and invited me in, sat me down, gave me a 7-Up. In the back while Martin's performing on the stage. Martin sent him to invite me in. And man, I was just so ecstatic, man. And the brother performed. I watched him perform, and afterwards, when he was done, he told everybody, "This my little funny looking boy back here, little candy seller, y'all go out there and get him." And I had a line of people, man. And I didn't have enough candy. I sold out so fast, they were just giving me money. I was like, oh. And that was just one of the most inspirational experiences that I had with one of my, my childhood heroes. You know what I mean? I grew up on Martin, bro. And then to experience that type of, thank you, Martin, man. I love you, brother, man. One of the most inspirational people in my life, man. Thank you. I appreciate you.
So you have an agent, and you start getting some TV roles. That's how you started, right?
Yes, sir. My first role was South of Sunset with Ari Spears. It was a speaking part. and this was actually my first audition I ever went on. I got I booked it, and man, it was just a wonderful experience. The most money I ever made in no time. So I was like, yeah, this is it for me.
Okay. So what happened after that TV appearance?
Well, you know, I booked Tales from the Hood. That was my first movie.
That was your first movie.
Yeah.
I remember I watched it at the theaters.
Yeah, Tales from the Hood.
Yeah, it was a cult classic.
Rusty Cundiff, and executive produced by Spike Lee. And, you know, it had a lot of people in there. It's a cult classic. If you say, as you say,
yeah,
a lot of people love that. Yeah.
Well,
my first movie.
I mean, you didn't see like black horror films coming out during that time, like really at all.
Except,
you know, I mean, you see what Jordan Peele's doing now.
Yeah. Back
Tales
then,
from the Hood was back then.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Then, you know, Sunset Park, get on the bus. I just started booking movies, man. Lockdown, 3 Strikes, you know. I did The Wood.
Well, then The Wood came out.
Yeah, The Wood.
Was The Wood kind of your big one?
That was the one that was one of the ones that like helped me. More people recognize the character I played, Stacey, from The Wood than any other movie that I made. It's like they literally called me Stacey. Like, I might as well, I think I am. I'm gonna change my name to Stacey, man.
Well, I mean, just had some classic parts in it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, my brother's coming after school, he's gonna fuck you up.
Yeah,
and then here you show up, like.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was that's how it was back in that time, in that era, you know. And, you know, a lot of people either lived through that or had the chance to experience that, you know, like the generation now, they recognize me. And, you know, I'm talking about 20-year-olds. They like, I'm like, how you know me? How you know me as Stacey from a movie? That's the movie about 20, you know what I mean?
Older than you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, that was a great one, man. And just, you know, I guess it sort of showed how you could be enemies with someone one day and friends with them the next day, and you know, it just shows the dynamics.
Part of growing. It was part of like growing up, and being an older brother. You know, you're not gonna be able to keep your sister from every man. You know what I mean? One day she gonna. So you would want it to be somebody that genuinely appreciates and cares for her. So my character seen that in Lil Mike, in Big Mike, you know, where he played, he was Lil Mike, but I called him Big Mike. And so that's kind of how I fed off of that. Me having a little sister, I would want somebody that really appreciated her. Like Lil Mike showed he really liked my Melinda Williams character. So, you know, that's all it was. Alicia, yeah. But
well, I mean, here you are, and you know, you started doing a bunch of movies. You know, I mean, you mentioned Sunset Park, Tales from the Hood, Get on the Bus, The Wood, and then there's also 3 Strikes.
Yes, sir, 3 Strikes. DJ Pooh.
Yeah, yeah, DJ Pooh.
Yeah, that's one
you know, who co-wrote Friday.
Absolutely, yeah.
Lockdown, Master P.
Yeah, Master P, shout out, real life.
So, I mean, here you are, someone who didn't come up as a trained actor, but now you're getting all these roles and you're working with some of the finest minds in Hollywood, the Spike Lees and so forth. What was that really like?
At that time, man, it was unbelievable. It was like I was actually achieving what I set out to do and experiencing it in a way that I didn't imagine I would, like, you know, with all the like big names and these big people that I grew up admiring, you know what I mean? Now I'm working with them, and it was just like, man, unbelievable. But it was also inspirational, you know what I mean? I got a little cocky at that time. Being young, I'm, you know, making some money, I'm traveling, and I'm feeling myself. And you know, I had a little, you know, I had to be set down and brought back down to earth, so I had some issues.
Well, I mean, you're getting these roles, but I mean, is it safe to say you were being typecast? You're always kind of the tough guy,
yes,
you know, the street guy.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that. However, you know, if that's what If that's what you see, if that's what you paying me, and that's what y'all admiring and people
Yeah.
loving, typecast me, fuck it.
Do you think that, as you're getting these types of roles and you're becoming known for these types of roles, you start adopting these characters into your own personal life? You know how Tupac...
You say you manifest?
Yeah, you know how Tupac played in Juice, and I feel like he kept that Bishop character
going on.
I've heard that before from a lot of people. Do you think that you would start taking on these
Life
characters?
imitating art.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of truth in that, as far as with anybody, not only just actors, just in any part of your life, whatever you know what I mean? It's like when I did 3 Strikes, I got shot in the ass in 3 Strikes, my character did. However, after I did that movie, in reality, I wound up getting shot 3 times, and one of them was in my ass, the bullet. And it was kind of like, damn. Then I did Lockdown, and in that movie, the character I played he wound up going to prison for defending his life. Well, he was wrongly convicted, but he wound up having to stab somebody while he was in prison to defend his life. And then in reality, I wound up going to prison for manslaughter. So it happened after that. And
I want to talk about all that a little bit more in depth. What you said, as you were building up and getting all these roles, you said, I thought I was Tupac, man. I felt like I was Thug Life. I thought I was basically on top of the world. I wasn't. So you were feeling like Tupac at that time?
At that time, Tupac was who everybody was loving, and
right.
who was speaking for my generation, the things that we couldn't say, or we didn't know how to say it. And I was feeling like I was a thug, you know what I mean? And I'm not ashamed to say that. I wasn't no gang member or nothing, but I feel like, it's like what's this new generation? And they not gang members, like housing. Remember how we was housers or taggers, and when we was coming up, we wasn't gang members, but we had something like, so I felt like that. Yeah, man, I'm feeling myself at that time. I was young, I was naive, I wasn't as knowledgeable about myself as I am now, and I didn't have too many people to guide me or to look up to for guidance or for direction, because I really had a gang of people that was just around me for, the negative reasons, it wasn't for the positive, really because they genuinely loved me. A chosen few were, but for the most part.
So were you married at that time?
I got married afterwards. After I went to, I got married in the county jail.
In the county jail?
Yeah.
Okay, so was that
before
the shooting or?
No, well, the shooting happened before.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So I guess you're about to start shooting Lockdown.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And a couple days before.
I get, well, it wasn't a couple days before. It was a few months before.
A few months before you get shot.
I get shot.
Can you talk about what happened?
I was just at my uncle's house, and I guess you could say at the wrong place at the wrong time. Guys rolled by, threw up some gang signs. I was standing in the front yard. I didn't throw no gang signs back up. They left. A few minutes later, they came back, got out, chased me down and shot me.
Just a completely random neighborhood situation.
That was how things were at that time. In my community in South Central LA, a lot of people got shot that wasn't doing nothing, man. You know what I mean? It's sad, but it's true. You didn't have to bang. You could just be in the wrong place in an area, and they think you from that gang because you're in that area. Or you could be just standing out somewhere at a bus stop, or, people ride by and, they looking for trouble. So it's like, I just was a victim.
Where'd you get hit?
I got hit 2 times in my leg, 1 time in my thigh. Bullet went out and got stuck in my ass. And it came out about 13 years later.
So you were basically got a bullet in you for 13 years.
Yeah, yep. And it pushed it where it came out. They say the doctor told me it's gonna come out one day. They don't know when, but anything foreign in your body tends to try to get it out, extract,
and that was the
extricate it.
And that was the first time you got shot.
Yes, sir. That was the first time I got
so you
shot.
got rushed to the hospital.
Rushed to the hospital.
But it wasn't life threatening.
No, I got out the same day. Thank God.
Okay. Did you ever go back in that area again?
My uncles.
Yeah.
No.
That was it.
Nah, I didn't go back.
I don't blame you.
No.
So then you get shot and you're doing lockdown.
Yeah. And I had to go on set and let them know, I just got shot, so I had a limp, and I kind of worked through that and got the job done.
Well, there was and because this kind of leads me into one of the scenes in lockdown. I guess there was a situation that happened with your wife.
As far as what?
Well, I guess you were you pled guilty to battery of a spouse.
That wasn't my wife.
Oh, that was girlfriend.
That was something when I was 17.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that at all?
Well, I mean, I just had a girlfriend and we lived together at the time. And I came home with some phone numbers in my pocket. She found them, got mad, and we got into an argument. And I wound up getting accused of putting my hands on her and some other shit that wasn't true. And I had to plead no contest in order to get everything taken care of. But this was my living girlfriend. We had shared an apartment together. She had my name tattooed on her, and I had her name tattooed on me, and just some, bullshit going up. That's all.
Well, lockdown had a rape scene that you were in, and I guess you didn't want to do it.
The rape scene?
Yeah.
No, I did not want to do it. That's one of the worst scenes I ever did. And I wish I could go back and take it back, you know what I mean? But, I was an actor. I'm an actor at the time, and the director, said, I need you to do this, man, and like, fuck it, come on, man, let's just get it out the way.
I guess you cried after doing that scene.
Yeah, I cried. Literally, like, because I felt like I didn't feel right, you know what I mean? It was just something that wasn't spiritually right about that shit. And I didn't see what it needed to be in the movie for. But, I wasn't the writer of the movie, and I agreed I was under contract.
Yeah, I guess as an actor, you can't just start changing the script.
No, you can't. Not once you sign. Yeah. But yeah, that was one of the...
You were doing films, I guess a little bit after Tupac, I guess, was doing films.
A little bit after.
A little bit after. Were you running into Tupac at all on the acting side of things?
Only one time after I met him on Sunset. I ran into him at the premiere of Sunset Park, which he had a song on the soundtrack, High Till I Die. And I met him at the premiere, and he was just a wonderful person, man. That was one of my idols. I mean, if I could say that. I'm not supposed to have idols. However, he was one of my mentors, someone I looked up to and I admired.
Oh,
greatly.
Yeah, man. I mean, imagine what Tupac could have done acting-wise had he stayed, on this planet. Because I had heard, I forgot who told me, but someone told me that he was actually had been cast for Will Smith's role in Independence Day.
Wow. It's not unbelievable. The brother had limitless talent.
And then he died, and then Will Smith ended up getting the role, and then that was the role that took Will Smith, turned him into a movie star. He was a TV star already.
And he became
boom. He took off.
Yeah, great too, man. It's
I just interviewed Bill Duke.
Wow.
And he talked about how him and Tupac were meeting and talking about doing film projects, because he's a director as well.
Absolutely.
He did Deep Cover and a bunch of other.
Yeah, Bill Duke.
Have you actually met Tupac when he was alive?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
What was the interactions like?
We wanted to, this is not too long before his death. We wanted to work on some films together.
Aha.
And he talked about his belief systems, you know. He talked about our community. He talked about this country and the world. He was a brilliant young man and courageous in a lot of ways.
Okay, so he wanted to work on films with you. Okay. So Pac would have been, you know,
amazing, bro.
he could have been Michael B. Jordan, basically.
I mean,
Even bigger.
Yeah, he's like in a class all by himself, bro. Always has been. He was just
Yeah, sad.
Unbelievable.
So a situation happened with your aunt's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Well, you know, I got into a altercation that was unprovoked by myself with my aunt's boyfriend in 2001. I just booked a movie, got hired by Denzel Washington to play in Antoine Fisher. I was excited, you know, I'm 2 weeks away from, you know, filming basically, and I go to my auntie house always, check on my family, give them, you know, a little money. And this day, her boyfriend, I guess he was having a bad time in his life, and I pulled up and playing loud music, triggered something in him. He came and he attacked me, and with no words or nothing, just I defended myself, couldn't win, and wind up pulling a knife and getting stabbing him one time, and he died. Stayed there trying to help him, waited for the ambulance, and he lost his life. And I ended up getting convicted and went to trial and got manslaughter. The jury found me guilty of manslaughter.
So he attacks you and you pull out a knife, self-defense, and then he basically runs into the knife?
Well, no, he didn't run into the knife. When I pulled up and he was attacking me and I'm trying to defend myself, I couldn't get him, you know what I mean? So I ran in the house and I grabbed the knife. When I came back out, he came at me again. And this time when he approached me and he swung, I stuck the knife out, and he got hit in the chest. And he knocked me down again. He was standing over me. And he started, you know, he didn't know he was stabbed. I didn't even know he was stabbed until I seen him. I looked up and I seen a line on his chest, and I seen him, you know, he was walking around and he started grabbing the gate and shaking it. Then he turned around and I walked up to him and he sat down. I told somebody to grab the water hose. I tried to run water on him and called the ambulance. Somebody called the ambulance. They called and the brother died in my arms. And
right, because I guess you were holding him.
Yeah, I was holding him when he passed in my arms.
And I guess you were saying, please don't die.
Of course.
Keep on breathing.
I thought it was a night. I really literally thought I was dreaming, but it was not a dream.
So you're already realizing what had just happened.
Yeah.
And the gravity of it is starting to hit you.
Crazy, yeah.
The police show up.
Ambulance came first.
The ambulance comes.
They get him and they trying to work on him, put him in the ambulance. I'm still sitting there. They take off with him. And next the police came. And when the police came.
Did you think to run at that point?
Nah.
No. Police came. They arrest you.
They just came and picked me up, put me in handcuffs, because other people were saying that's, you know, it was more people there. I was in a state of shock. I was not really even there. It was just unbelievable, man. I couldn't believe what was happening.
So you get arrested and then you get charged.
Yes, I get charged.
You get a lawyer.
First, I get an attorney, yes.
You bail out?
No, I didn't bail out.
Oh,
I
they
stayed in. No, I
Did they offer you
never
a bail?
bailed out. I had no bail.
Well,
And
why
then-
is that?
Well, because it was the first time I had no bail. You only get a bail after you go to trial and arraignment, and then they gave me like $1 million and some bail. I didn't have $1 million and some.
Or you'd have to have 100,000.
Yeah, well, I didn't have that at that time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I stayed up in jail when I fought my case for a year and about a month.
I mean, but did you get a real lawyer?
I got a real attorney, yeah.
Okay.
But I just didn't bail out.
Okay. And were they offering you plea deals along the way?
They offered me a plea deal. I didn't take it.
Like, what did they originally charge you with?
First degree premeditated murder because they said I went in the house.
Uh-huh.
And by me going in the house, that was premeditated, even though it was in the heat of a physical altercation.
Okay, but that wasn't going to hold.
They knew that. I mean, when I was in the police station, the first thing they told me, you're not gonna do forever. That's what they told me. He said, you're gonna do some time. I was like, man, well, you know, it is what it is. As far as I was willing, and, you know, I have to pay for my actions, you know, no matter if it's in the heat of the moment or not.
Yeah.
If something happened, your ass gotta.
I mean, had you done jail time before then?
Never. Not like prison time, not real
just a
jail
little bit
time.
of jail time here.
Just like the little issue that I had with my first girlfriend. And
Overnight kind of.
Yeah,
Got
there
it.
wasn't nothing major.
So now you're facing some actual
Life,
real
I'm facing
prison
life.
time.
Yeah,
You get a lawyer and you spend a year in the county
yeah,
fighting this case.
yeah.
Right before the trial, what did they offer you as a plea deal?
12 years.
12 years.
11 years plus 1 for the weapon. 12 years.
Manslaughter.
Manslaughter.
But you turned it down.
Turned it down.
Why?
I guess, I don't know. I can't answer that question. God, I guess, didn't want me to take no deals, make no deals.
Okay. So you take it to trial.
I took it to trial.
And it gets to the jury. And the jury actually finds you guilty.
Of manslaughter.
Of manslaughter.
Not guilty on first degree, not guilty on second degree, guilty on the lesser charge.
Manslaughter means that someone died, but you didn't plan to kill
It
him.
wasn't.
It was someone just
malice
died.
or forethought, premeditation.
Right.
It was in the heat of the moment.
Like drunk driving would be manslaughter.
Absolutely. It
So
wasn't
if someone
something-
dies, if you're drunk driving, you didn't plan to kill him, but your actions caused the death, so therefore
So you held accountable.
you're held accountable.
Yeah.
How did you feel when they told you 10 years? Well, actually, I mean, first you're found guilty, and then the sentencing comes later, right?
When they said not guilty on first degree murder, not guilty on second degree murder, I felt relief.
Okay.
Because I knew that my intention wasn't murder. I didn't go there looking to kill nobody.
Right.
However, I did, you know, I wanted to be held responsible. And I knew that if I got manslaughter, God willing, I don't get first or second because that's life.
Oh, so first and second is both life?
Both life. You're not getting out, period. However, when I heard manslaughter, I was thankful, like, because I still have a opportunity, you know what I mean? And so the judge dismissed the jury, didn't allow them to sentence me because by law, I was supposed to be found, if I was found guilty, my sentence was to be handed down by the jury, not the judge, because I had a trial. And the judge dismissed my jury, and he gave me the maximum sentence.
Oh, the jury could have given you a lower
They
sentence.
the max they could have gave me was 7 years.
Why did the judge do that?
Why do the judges do all the shit they do to us in court?
So you think it was personal to a certain
It was
degree?
it's always personal when it's a young black man in court. And
But even one that's clearly
Don't
an asset
matter.
to society,
Don't matter.
doing movies that the judge may have seen and all that.
Denzel wrote a letter on behalf of me.
Right.
John Lussenhop, the director of Lockdown and Takers, he came and spoke on my behalf as a character witness. My mother, my community, my people in my community, neighbors, the church, pastors, people that know me came. I had so many people. It was not one. And when I say this, I mean not one person in that courtroom that was against me. not even from the victim's family, because the mother knew me. My character, my person, the victim's mother. And no one was in there to say, you know, not one.
Were there any witnesses though that testified?
It was witnesses that testified, and they all testified on my behalf.
On your behalf,
Yeah.
okay.
And
but the judge turned around and still gave you the maximum.
Got the maximum sentence.
How did you feel when you heard the judge say 10 years?
Well, he said 11. 10 plus 1 is 11 with 85%. My family started crying and everybody, but I didn't. I felt like, man, I got to do this. Let me go do this. And that's it. I felt relief and I felt grateful and thankful that, you know, God gave me mercy and had mercy on me and saw it and knew the truth. And it was revealed.
Okay. So then you go from county to the penitentiary. And you're how old at the time?
25.
Very young man.
Yes.
You're 25 years old. You now go into the penitentiary, but you're not a typical inmate. Like, everybody knows who you are. Yeah. You're a movie star. Were you put in PC?
No.
Why is that?
I never felt who gonna protect me other than God Almighty? Allah is my only protector. So that's how I feel, that's how I felt, and I knew that. So I was like, man, if I'm gonna go through this, I gotta go through it. And I don't wanna be around a gang of, you know, people that got the type of jackets that's on people in PC.
Snitches, pedophiles, I'm dirty cops.
I'm cool on all that.
Yeah.
I'll deal with the real.
Okay. Yeah. So what was that experience like? Here you are, 25 years old in penitentiary, and people probably looking at you like, motherfucker, why are you here? Like,
I got tested, like, you know, handled. You know, people approached me, try to see if I was real or, you know, a pushover, and I handled my business, you know, as any man would. Ain't nobody pushed me over, I can tell you that.
I mean, did you have a group of people that you fuck with?
I mean, certain people that I chose
but
associate with, nah, I ain't never paid no, like, for protection or none of that. If it was somebody that I felt was compatible as far as character-wise with me, then I chose, you know, I associated with chosen few. However, you know, you have people that come from wherever they may be from, you know, and try to test you as a man. That happens. Riots, you know, that happen. And I participate with, you know, because I have to, and it's my people. Other than that, I'm a man. If a motherfucker got issues with me, you can take care of that, you know.
What do you think is the worst thing you experienced or saw or went through during those 10 years?
The worst experience that I saw or went through? Shit, the whole experience of just being in prison and away from your family and away from, you know, your ability to provide for your family.
Right, but I mean, prison is a very violent place.
It is violent.
Between the inmates,
I seen all kind of. I never seen
COs.
I never seen anything sexually, like motherfuckers getting raped. Nah, that shit is. They be putting extras on that, man. In this damn time, there's too many brothers up in there, and people that don't condone shit like that. You know, and then you got too many motherfuckers willingly giving up ass. And,
right.
You know, if you get caught doing that shit, that's your ass. No, literally, because too many men, motherfuckers don't want to see that. Motherfuckers don't want to be around that. So, you know, violence-wise, I done seen a lot of people get stabbed. Yeah. I done seen motherfuckers get killed up in there.
So right in front of you saw people get killed.
I've seen, you know, things, in the county jail especially, yeah.
I mean, what is that like when for a human being to be put in that level of savagery where people are getting killed in front of you, people getting stabbed in front of you, like that
That's
type of thing?
That's fucking unbelievable. It's barbaric. It's like, it's sad. It's so much more that can be done. That could, you know, these people that have to go to prison or have to do time can benefit from, you know, in a real rehabilitational way, and just to throw people in cages, you know, and just say fuck them, basically, and you know, it's terrible.
Well, I guess you got your jaw broken at one point.
I got my jaw broke, yeah.
Just a fight.
Well, it wasn't really a fight. It was somebody dope fiend. They was smart. Some motherfuckers know how to get at you. And he got at me in the most intelligent way you could, because if I would have knew he was coming, he would have never broke my jaw, I can guarantee you that.
When you said that prison hasn't taught me anything, it only tried to make me worse.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically the U.S. prison system for you.
Well, at that time when I said that, was that with street gangs, media?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, at that time, it was probably 2005, and I was, going through a lot.
So Grantland, actually. Grantland.
Grantland, that's who said that. That's why I did that interview with.
Maybe
at that time I thought that way. However,
it was a Grantland interview.
Okay, well, at that time, yeah, it did make me worse. Because I wasn't receptive enough to open up myself and utilize that time to make me better. You know what I mean? So I was thinking, and I was bitter instead of saying, and then one day my eyes opened, Allah touched my heart, my mind, and he revealed some things to me in the spiritual and in the physical. And, I made the conscious decision to go within myself and learn, what my purpose is truly. And I've discovered that.
So you became Muslim in prison?
I'm not a Muslim.
No.
No, I'm not. I know who I am. Okay. And it's not neither here nor there as far as I don't want to speak concerning my religion. Mm-hmm. I just know who I am.
How frustrating was it? Like, damn, I was about to do a movie with Denzel. I probably would have booked a whole bunch of other movies, and you're surrounded by people who don't even have, even a small part of the potential that you have. This is why I'm saying you're in there, and it's like,
there's so many brothers and people in there that have so much potential. Some of the most intelligent, strong, and wisest men that I've met were in prison. And that's the truth. That's right. And the sad part is just they're trying to never let them out because they know the power that these people have and the effect that they can have on their community. So, yeah, it's brilliance and probably the most potential is in prison.
Yeah, no, some of my best friends have done substantial prison time. Yeah. I feel you on that.
Yeah.
So you get out after 10 years or 11 years?
I did 9 years, 7 months, 22 days.
Okay. So now you're 35 years old.
Yes, sir.
Getting out.
Yes, sir.
You missed a whole decade. What year was this when you got out?
2011.
Okay.
Yeah, 2011.
You get out 2011.
2001 to 2011.
2011.
Yeah.
What changed in the world being away for 10 years? Like as you step outside, cell phones now.
Cell phone, just the style of the youth.
Yeah.
The
music has changed.
The music, the cars, everything, man. It was just so fast. It was, I was used to, a lot more at a slow pace, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember I interviewed Lil D from Oakland, and he did 26 years in prison.
Man, it's crazy.
He was the crack king of Oakland at 18.
Yeah.
I go to the airport. And man, when I got to that airport and seen all these people moving around on these cell phones, if you'd have seen the expression on my face, I was in another world, man. Like I was, the look that was on me was like a person that you just let out of a cave. I mean, that's how long I had been gone. Like when I seen all these people on their phones with their head down texting and bumping into each other, man, it freaked me out, man. Because it was these people was moving so fast, right? And then in prison, you got to be kind, man. You got to say, excuse me if you bump into somebody, man. You got to say, excuse me. You gotta, because it's a respect thing. So when I see, you know, you people bumping into each other with their head down and whatnot, it freaked me out. I'm like, man, this is crazy.
He said that was the biggest shock to him. So you know what
That
I'm talking
is
about.
absolutely one of the shocks, because you have to be really, you know, cautious, alert, aware of your surroundings, respectful in prison, because, you know, one wrong action or one slip up can cost, you know, a lot of people their lives. So people are respectful up in there and, you know, slow. They think before they speak, you know what I mean? And before they do. But out here, a lot of people, you know, they in their phones, they don't see you, they don't, people invade your space, you know what I mean? There's no such thing as, you know, just courteousness, I guess you could say, and respect out here.
Well, I guess before you went in, when you did Lockdown, one of your co-stars, Lloyd Avery,
Yeah.
the second,
Yeah,
he played the guy who killed Ricky in Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
He ended up killing 2 people, and then went to Pelican Bay, and then got killed by his cellmate.
Yeah.
Were you guys close?
I knew Lloyd Avery. We grew up in LA, so I used to see him at the Venice Beach sometimes, you know, and I knew him from his work in Boys in the Hood, and then we wind up working together on Lockdown. That was the first time I had opportunity to really get to know him and meet him, and he was a wonderful brother, man. He was down to earth. He was cool. Called him LA Deuce. Rest in peace, you know, and yeah, man, he was a good brother.
So you get out, and now you start getting adjusted back to society. But you're, you know, and I remember, I think I met you maybe a couple of years after you got out, and I think I approached you, and I could tell that you were kind of distrustful of me. Was that part of the adjustment time still of getting back?
I mean, probably not of you, if that's the way you felt. It wasn't nothing personal, just how I am. I'm still kind of like that, you know what I mean? I don't like to invade people's space too much. And, you know, I'm very I'm a respectful person. You know, that's key with me.
Yeah.
It's like I don't trust too many people. You know, if I don't know them, I guess you could say.
Yeah, fair enough. I didn't take it personally.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, okay, he doesn't want to do the interview now. We're going to keep it moving.
Yes, sir.
At what point after you get out do you start getting movie roles again?
When I first got out, I say I booked Rizzoli and Al's. That was the first audition I went on, and I started working right away. I did Rizzoli and Al's, and I booked Gangster Squad with Sean Penn and Ryan Gosling, and yeah.
You get right back into it.
Yeah, I got right back into it.
Did you have an agent at that point?
I did. Yep, and I have an agent now.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So Hollywood kind of started to embrace you again.
I guess you could say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you did Gangster Squad.
Yes.
You did Imperial Dreams.
Imperial Dream.
Then you do Dope.
Dope. Yes, sir.
Where I guess you kind of
Picked
do the Stacey character.
Like a little reboot of Stacey. He a little older now.
Yeah.
You know, he working at the school, and you know he's not gangbanging. It was a reboot, basically.
Yeah, that was
an updated version of The Wood. That's what Dope is.
Yeah, it was a cool movie, man.
Yeah, it was.
A$AP Rocky.
I like it. It had and it had a positive, I think a positive message in it. You know.
Yeah, Zoe Kravitz is in it.
Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah, man, it was a cool indie film that really, I think, resonated with a lot of people.
Yeah, Pharrell Williams executive.
Pharrell Williams, yeah, he executive produced it.
Yeah.
And then you do another film with the guy from Star Wars.
Yeah, Imperial Dreams.
That's Imperial Dreams. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, I forgot the name.
John Boyega. Yeah.
Yeah. Was that done before Star Wars?
Yes, we done that right before Star Wars.
I'm sure it is.
But he blew. Yeah,
His
he's a
budget,
great
you know.
actor, man. He's a wonderful actor. So
He's
it's
British,
no surprise.
right?
He's British, yeah. Man, but his talent is, something to look out for certain.
I mean, it's amazing how these British actors come over to America, like the Idris Elbas of the world, and you don't even know they're British until years later.
Years later, yeah. Man, this is where it's set as far as, the land of opportunity, and people feel that if you can make it over here in American films, in Hollywood, you got it everywhere. And they hungry, they doing their thing, man. Yeah.
Yeah, they're taking our jobs.
Yeah, they are. So I might have to go over there.
Well, I remember I talked to Wood Harris.
Wood
about
Harris.
This.
Yeah,
who worked with Idris on The Wire.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he just explained to me how over there, theater is more ingrained into the culture.
They deserve the roles because
No, I mean they're obviously great actors.
Better, not just great. They're often better because my theory on it is that they grow up with Shakespeare from day one.
Right.
So they grow up with a poetry in their life that we don't.
So these guys come in doing theater from like elementary school.
That's probably what. Yeah,
you see what I'm
I've
saying?
never done theater, and that's probably what I need to do. And that's probably where they get us at. If you got more practice in something, and more, you're gonna be better at it. I never thought, and I never had the desire, but now I'm to do theater. I don't know.
Why not?
Because it's live, I guess.
Scarier, yeah.
I think it's a little bit, because on set you
There's
just
no
got to
cut.
worry about this, this here, and I really don't see that. But on here, you got the people out there. I think it'll be a challenge. I'm gonna do that.
Well, and then you booked my favorite show on television, Snowfall.
Oh, man, bro.
With John Singleton.
My big brother, man.
So how long ago did you book that role?
I booked that role actually March 19th.
Of this year?
This year, on my birthday. I read for John on my birthday.
And, I've said this to Freeway Ricky Ross, and I'm like, I know this is going to piss you off because he has his own issues with Snowfall and John Singleton, because the story is, I guess, loosely based on Freeway Ricky. But I told Freeway straight up, I'm like, this is my favorite show on television right now. Like,
powerful, wonderful.
My favorite show on television is Snowfall. I know this is going to annoy you when I say this. I know this. I know this.
Boo!
Have you watched it at all?
Never.
Never.
What? I'm not really into fairy tales.
Okay.
First of all,
because the story, as someone who's watched every episode, it is clearly the Ricky Ross story, based on the. I'm not saying exactly.
You're right, and you're right. You're probably right, but it's
all the way to there's a whole Nicaraguan Contra with a DEA agent, like the whole, based on all the conversations you and I have had together, this is so
they
the
probably
Freeway
watched
Ricky
your
Ross.
interviews too.
They probably did. Like Snowfall is just brilliant the way it's put together. Once again with another British actor playing the lead.
Yeah.
Once again.
Damson.
Yeah.
Damson.
So you booked this role. Had you actually met with Singleton before?
Well, I met Singleton a couple of times in my career early on. Just going through the same. Going for auditions. He came down, actually, I met him the first time on the set of The Wood.
Okay.
And I was filming the scene where I was at the school and I was about to beat the dude up for touching on my sister. And John was up there and he introduced himself to me and I was just shocked and all. And he was like, man, you're a great actor. Because he was watching us perform. And that was the first time I met him. We never had a chance to do nothing or work at that moment in time because I went to prison after that.
Right. I mean, Singleton is Boys in the Hood, Poetic Justice, Baby Boy, Higher Learning, Shaft,
Rosewood,
Fast and Furious 2.
It's just
yeah. So I interviewed Isaiah John.
Okay, yeah, I know.
who's on Snowfall.
Absolutely, play
And-
Leon.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
One of the main characters. And we talked about Snowfall, the similarities with Boys in the Hood,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of explained to me, which makes a lot of sense, that, and you know, when I watched the first episode of Snowfall, I got that Boys in the Hood feel from it, like with the way the cameras were panning and the look and feel of it.
Yeah.
Like I felt like this was a continuation of Boys in the Hood in a way.
Right. Well, actually, this would be, if anything, this would be like a pre-Boys in the Hood, because this is before crack. You know, this is before people had bars in their windows and before the neighborhoods were really bad. You know, so if anything, Boys in the Hood would have been, you know, after Snowfall. You know, when it comes to time-wise, you know, time era. So.
Snowfall was almost like a prequel to Boys in the Hood. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like it was set right before
Boys in the Hood.
the Boys in the Hood happened.
Era, yeah.
You know, because that's
You
when
could
crack,
see it, yeah.
That's when crack was first hitting LA and everything else like that. And it was just so, the show was so well done, and you could just feel Singleton's, you know, fingerprints all over it, with the way the shots look and the way it feels. You know, because, I mean, think about the number of movie stars that Singleton made just from Boys in the Hood alone.
Man,
Ice Cube's first role. Cuba Gooding went on to win an
Yes.
Oscar.
Neil Long.
Morris
Chestnut.
Morris Chestnut went on to be a movie star. Like,
Oh my goodness, Omar Epps, Higher Learning.
Omar Epps on Higher Learning. I mean,
Ice-
Janet Jackson,
Janet
that was one of her
Jackson.
first roles.
Tupac. Wow, Tyrese. Real
yeah,
life.
exactly.
It's like
he was a springboard to a lot of
architect,
people.
bro.
Yeah.
He's one of the greatest men ever that I met, and genuine. Like really, he grew up in LA, so
Yeah.
he had a love and a appreciation for our culture, because he grew up in it, and to a point, I'm pretty sure he suffered at that time too.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he did, so he knew about it. So that's why he could connect and deliver these movies, Poetic Justice, Boys in the Hood, and it was all based loosely on Los Angeles, some aspect of it. So that shows how much he loved his city, and we love him.
Okay, so you get booked for that show.
Yes, sir.
What's the character that you play? Because it's a new character.
It's
I
a
assume.
new character.
Yeah.
His name is Scully. His name is Scully, and he's in coming out in season 3 of Snowfall, and you know, just he's a real wild, exciting, vibrant person. You know, I'm gonna show out.
Okay, so you get booked for that role.
Yes, sir.
And how much is Singleton actually working on this day to day?
He's working every day.
So every day he's on
Yeah,
set.
he's there every day. Yes, sir.
Because it's executive produced by him, but there's an actual director. And,
You have guest directors that come in. However, he's the brains. You know,
Got it.
executive producer. It's his ideas. You know, so
Okay, so you book it in March, and now you're working with Singleton
absolutely
every day.
Yes, sir.
Do you guys do the whole season, complete it?
Oh no, we doing my role is a reoccurring role. So right now I was able to work with him on the season 3 first episode. That's what we shot. How we got more
episodes to
Yes.
go. So here you are, you're working with one of your heroes once again, and you're working on an incredible TV project.
Absolutely.
You know, which is really up your alley anyways.
I'm
being
so
an
excited,
an
man.
LA guy, and then you hear about the stroke.
Yeah.
Was there anything about John Singleton leading up to this? Did he seem healthy and everything?
He seemed healthy. He seemed happy, excited, man. Normal. Everything was fine.
But then you get the news about, well, first he had a heart attack.
Yes, I heard he had I get the news that he was in the hospital and he had a stroke. That's what I heard. And so I was devastated. However, I was hopeful at the same time, because I'm like, okay, I know people that have had strokes and they've come out of it.
Yeah.
So my thoughts were just, sending positive prayers and energy and hoping for John's recovery. And
then I remember Taraji P. Henson and Tyrese they take a picture in the hospital with John. He's kind of smiling. Doesn't quite seem fully there, but at least he's conscious.
Yes,
it
sir.
appears. So you're okay. He's gonna pull out of
Hopeful,
it.
yeah.
And then you hear he goes into a coma again.
Yeah.
And then you hear that the family actually takes him off life support. And it just happens so fast.
Yeah, too fast. Like,
When you got that,
I'm still not fully at grips with, you know, this understanding this, you know what I mean? It's too, cause, you know, I just was with my brother, you know, he was talking to me and looking, we eating, we having lunch, he in my trailer, you know, reminiscing and talking about, you know, this character that he's created, that he knew growing up, Scully, you know what I mean? And just to be working with somebody as prolific and wonderful as John Singleton, and to be doing it, man, it's a blessing and a dream come true, and it hurts, man. It's something that, you know, I hate to happen, man.
I mean, 51 years old, man, that is not very old at all.
I'm
That's
43,
a young man.
man, so.
Yeah, that's 8 years.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it's an actual tragedy. And I'm sure that
My condolences go out to his family, his children.
I mean, I was looking forward to another Tupac movie that he actually directed. That's what I've, you know. I always felt the one that came out was, it was cool, but it wasn't what it potentially could do. And I always was hoping that maybe he would come back, circle back around.
I'm pretty sure he was too. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's just unfortunate.
Sad. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
John Singleton, man.
Great.
One of the giants.
Love you, sir. Thank you, sir.
In movies.
To your family, thank you. Love y'all.
Well, you're wearing a Crenshaw shirt right now.
Yes, sir.
Did you know Nipsey at all?
No, man. I never had the pleasure or the chance to meet the brother, man. But I love the brother, and it felt like I knew him, because his passing affected me more than I would have believed, you know. It's crazy, man. It's all the same, like within a month, Nipsey, John, and, you know, I'm just like, I'm kind of messed up right now.
Yeah, I think it affected everybody really badly, especially everyone in LA, you know, where it actually happened, when, you know, most of us have come in contact with him in some way, you know, like I interviewed him, but we also would run into each other sometimes.
Yes,
like at a YG video set, or sometimes, you know, in the mall in Inglewood, you would just randomly run into him, and he was always a good dude.
Real,
man.
And he was a part of his community. He really, you know, loved and cared for his people, and we all know that. Everybody now know that even more, you know, because they could see what he was doing. However, yeah, that's just a tragic situation, and I fucking hate that shit happened, man.
I mean, when you look at that whole situation, did you ever see the tape, the video?
Yeah, I saw the tape.
I watched it once and couldn't watch it again.
I can't watch it.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at, you know, no one's been convicted yet, but Eric Holder, Shitty Cuz, is the one that's been arrested for it. And you look at that whole situation of how it happened, and allegedly Nipsey called him a snitch, and he came back and got a gun. A situation like that happened. So, you know, and you went through your own situation when somebody got killed. A completely different situation, no relation to it, but the one thing in common is that someone lost their life. And it seems in both situations, it didn't need to happen. Something that could have been talked out, you know, tempers could have, you know, didn't need to go where they are. And you look at how quickly things escalate and people die. Well, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, my thoughts about that, as far as my situation is concerned.
Not quite your situation, because I don't want to. I'm not comparing your situation to Nipsey's.
Well, I don't have no thoughts about the other situation, because I don't know nothing about it, and I can't go based off just my seeing something. You know, if I don't have facts, and I I can't come to an absolute answer. I can't make no judgment concerning that or speak on it.
Yeah, man, it's sad. It's sad, and you know, and you've been to prison, and I've interviewed a lot of people that have been to prison, and it's always the same story of how a split-second situation will completely not only change your life, but change the lives of other people, change the lives of families. And you know, I just hope that people could take this you know, this Nipsey situation and say, you know, don't let things escalate. Try to de-escalate situations whenever you can.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
because
what
the ramifications.
That's what everything, though. That's
Yeah.
what I think we can do better as, you know, in every aspect of life. That's what we're supposed to strive to do anyway. You know what I mean? Because no one is perfect. However, you know, I think we could do better to de-escalate a lot of situations. Think, ask yourself, is it really worth it? What are the consequences? And, you know, and move accordingly. And, you know, I try to do that every day, especially now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 43, so I'm more in tune with who I am, and I'm more, you know, at a slower pace in my walk. You know, I'd rather walk and drink water, you know what I mean? Than,
Yeah. Well, I guess after you got out, you got arrested again and had to do 20 months?
Yeah, I did 20 months.
What was it for?
Carrying a knife out of concealed weapon.
Carrying a knife?
Carrying a knife on my hip, yeah. But I wasn't supposed to have it. I wasn't on parole. Didn't have wasn't no violent. It was nothing. I wasn't on parole or anything.
I mean, this just sounds
They
ridiculous.
gave me 21 months.
So, what, you just got pulled over and they found a knife on you?
I was walking down the street. I was in like a bad environment, a neighborhood. So I keep a little protection for myself because of who I am. And it was nighttime. Well, it was like evening time.
Okay.
And the police just rolled up on me, searched me, found a knife, arrested me. And I wind up getting charged with a ex-con carrying a concealed dirk or dagger. And they gave me
That's a real charge?
an
Ex-con with a dagger?
with a dirk or a dagger, yes, sir.
I mean, I'm sorry to laugh, but it just sounds
not
ridiculous.
that I pulled it out. Not
I
that
imagine. I mean, if you had a
used it.
gun, I got it. Like,
No,
okay.
but no, just even if you're an ex-con and you have a knife or any kind of weapon, you can be charged for that.
Pepper spray, anything?
I mean, all that.
All that.
They got laws for that. I didn't know it at the time either. I thought by me being off parole, I had a right to carry it. But
Well, and also you have a knife. It's not a gun.
And I'm not using it. I'm not hurting nobody, threatening nobody.
Yeah.
You know, so what's the issue? But it was because of my past,
Okay.
that they can utilize that against you in the future.
So you go back, was it in county or did you have to actually go
I
to
did.
prison?
I went to prison. I did 20 months.
How did you feel being back in prison for that
It
type
was
of
worse.
bullshit,
It was
bullshit
worse.
charge?
I was disgusted,
Disgusted.
sick. Like, I couldn't believe it. But I was like, I'm not gonna play with these people. I'd rather take this deal than go to trial for having a concealed dirk or dagger, nobody there, no victim, and they somehow give me 7 years. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's what you were facing,
No,
worst
they were
case?
talking about 14 years for this.
14 years for
I
a
put
knife?
that on everything I love, man. They was talking about for the past and 2 for this, and that's how they do you, man. That's really how they get down in them courts.
Yeah, no, I mean, I interviewed Kerry Lathan, who got shot next to Nipsey, and after doing 26 years,
They gonna give him a case for
well,
that.
they were trying to violate his probation and give him life again.
That's
And you know, I
that's
did
how
the
it
interview,
works.
and I think it raised enough noise that they finally just dropped the charges, and he's back
that's a
home.
blessing. Thank God for that.
Yeah.
They really do that to a lot of people and get away with that shit.
Yeah, well, the gang affiliation,
That
like, that right there is a really scary type of rule, because you're in the car with someone, you don't know what gang they happen to be in. You get pulled over, okay, he's in a gang, you're not supposed to be associating with a gang member, you've just violated. Back inside.
That's it.
And then, you know, or you just move back home to the only family you know, and there happens to be gang members in the family,
your ass
and then boom, you violate again. Yeah, it's a really set of fucked up laws overall that's really kind of designed to have a revolving door to keep people inside. That's how I look at it.
It is, and it is that way. However, you know, we just have to be more aware of the system. It's a system, you know, and a motherfucker can't circumvent the system unless you're aware that the system is against you and how to circumvent it, you know, and you know, I just, like I say, I think before I do now. I'm sober spiritually, mentally, you know, physically, and I'm real cautious. I got a son, you know, a 5-year-old son, and I want to be in his life. I love raising him. So I'm responsible. You know, I have to be like absolutely responsible now. So I'm not making no errors, not taking no losses no more. Yeah.
So there was a video of you crying at one point.
My only purpose is to.
If the police couldn't track down her daughter's killer, well, then she would.
Well, I will. My only purpose to be better, to be somebody better, to help people, to help
You put yourself
everything better. More life, more love, more peace, more.
That's how the days and weeks passed.
And
In a frenzy,
I sacrifice
with Carol often ending up parked
more than I can sacrifice. I can't sacrifice no more.
Yeah.
What exactly was that about?
Well, at that point in this was before I went and did the 20 months.
Okay.
So, in this time in my life, man, I was struggling with alcohol addiction. And it was kind of heavy in my life. And actually, the 20 months is what allowed me to get sober. I've been sober for 3 years, almost 3 years now. So that allowed me to, you know, jump start and to get back, to myself. And that was a cry for help, bro. I was going through a lot at that time, you know, just in my life, man, you know, with my family, with my, you know, my living situation, my finances, my parole. I just had so much stress, and people were just coming at me, and I was just like really like trying to tell motherfuckers to leave me alone, man. Bag up. You know what I mean? Won't y'all let a motherfucker have a peace of mind? You know, a nigga, and you know when somebody crying out for help, they don't know how to do it. And now that I see that, I realize that's what it was. You know, it was just, I needed some help, and you know, I got it. Unfortunately, it took 20 more months of my life.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I got it now.
You got it.
Yes, sir.
Well, man, look, it sounds like you're on the straight and narrow.
Yes,
At this
sir.
point, it sounds like you're taking being a father very
sir.
serious.
Yes, sir.
You know, which is something you didn't get to experience yourself.
No, I didn't.
You know, you get to break that cycle.
Yes, sir. I mean, you know, I don't blame my dad, because he was my rock. You know, the time that I did spend with him, I needed that the love and that the wisdom that he shared with me. So, you know, I don't hold nothing against him. You know, I love him. I miss him now. I'm gonna be better though. I'm gonna be him. You know, I'm gonna do better than my dad did, and hopefully my son will be greater and better than I am. And that's how I want it. That's how we should all want it.
That's the goal.
Yes, sir.
That's the goal for your kids to surpass what you did.
Yes, sir.
You know, because you help them get to that first step.
Absolutely.
You know, they get to the rest of the steps, man.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you know, an incredible story, and you know, with the tragedies, you just kind of consistently see the triumphs along the way. You know, because it'd be very easy for you to do your 10 years and then never touch Hollywood again and just say, you know, fuck it.
Go.
You know, go do whatever. But you came back and pursued your dreams, and you're doing with like films with the star of Star Wars.
Yes,
and
sir.
you know, you're doing you know, films like Dope, and
Yes, sir.
you know, doing films with Sean Penn, and this is post 10 years.
Yes, sir.
You know, and I think that's incredible because a lot of people, once they get into the prison system, that's it. They just go right back.
Yeah.
You know, and although you did do a small stretch going back, I don't see that as.
It was 6 years after, but
Yeah,
still,
it was 6 years after, and it was really, it just seems like a freak accident.
It
really.
it was just
something stupid.
Yeah.
You know.
But to speak on that, we all like really the reason that I could say that I made it and endured that because I wanted something greater for myself because I knew that wasn't my intention. I wasn't supposed to be in prison. I didn't mean that was not my will for somebody to lose their life. You know what I mean? So I didn't belong there anyway, so I was gonna do everything in my power to make it out of there. And I wasn't gonna be the same that I was before I went because I wasn't gonna allow that to happen. So with that being understood by me and striving and wanting to get back to my dream and to my life and to produce a family and have something, that was my motivation. And when I got out and God permitted me, you know, I didn't hold nothing against myself. You know what I mean? I just, you know, we works in progress, man, and I understand that.
Yeah.
And that's why it's, you know, I'm not done. I just started, man. Like really, this is the new me. This who I am supposed to be right now.
Well, I mean, and as an actor, man, you can keep doing this into your 80s, 90s. You know, like I said, I just interviewed Bill Duke. He's 76 years old. And
wow,
he's still doing, you know, films. Like right now, he's working on a film as we speak.
Bill Duke,
you know,
Predator, man.
Predator, man.
Commando, real
Deep
life.
Cover,
Deep
Action
Cover,
Jackson,
Action Jackson, all that.
Car Wash.
Speaking of Action Jackson, this is my brother Action Jackson. We got a movie we doing right now.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And my other brother, we working on a documentary and you know a little food, like a food reality show.
Okay.
For diabetics.
Okay.
You know.
I dig it.
Yes.
I like it. Listen, man, DeAndre Bonds, man, like I said, I'm a big fan. And at the end of the day, you're already sitting on a body of work that's timeless in our cult classics, you know, from The Wood to, you know, the Tales from the Hood to a lot of very dope films, man. And you're still doing it. You're still getting roles.
Man,
you still are
man.
doing your thing, man. So I'm just looking forward to what else you got coming up, man.
Hey, man.
And I think you have a lot.
I do, man. You're going to be surprised, you know. I got some music out there, too. You can check me out on Facebook, Instagram, at DeAndre Bond, DeAundrebonds. And I just want to give a shout out to my family, my brothers, Dank, Oncoming Traffic, you know, my brother Pac, man, something out of nothing, grind till we rich. You know how we do it, man. My brother Action, let's make this wow happen. You already know, bro, Action Jackson. Hey, thank you, Vlad, man. I appreciate the...
No doubt, man. Thank you for coming through. Until next time.
Yes,
DeAndre
sir.
Bonds, man. Peace.